So as we've just seen, the first aspect of the configuration is the receiving port on each indexer. So let's suppose that you had 3 indexers that are going to be receiving data from forwarders. You have to go to the individual indexers and make sure that you configure a receiving port. So we can do that using Splunk Web User Interface, in which case you are going to go to settings, you go to forwarding and receiving. It's going to give you a screen like this on the right, and then you are going to go to configure receiving, because again, as we've said, you are configuring the indexers to receive data. And then this is going to give you an option to add a new receiving port, which if you click, is going to give you a screen like this, where you are going to add your new receiving port. Remember, we already said that the default is 9997, but you can use a different port of your choice. I've seen cases where you can use 9995, 9996, 9998, and things like that. But for our own demonstrations here, we are going to be sticking with the default port, which is 9997. So you can also enable a listening port on an indexer using the Splunk command line interface. So basically you can use this format here, which is Splunk enable listing. You put your port number, tag auth, and then you provide your admin credentials. So in the case of Linux, for example, if you wanted to configure port 9997 as a listening port, this is what you're going to do. So you put your Splunk enable listing, you put your port number, tag auth, and then your admin username, your admin password. So basically, this now is going to update the inputs.conf configuration file. So as we've seen, you can configure the listening port using the Splunk Web User Interface. You can configure it using the Splunk CLI, but in both cases, it's going to update the inputs.conf configuration file on the indexer. So remember when we started our discussion of getting data into Splunk, we said that you have to configure inputs.conf on the indexer to receive data from forwarders. So that is the configuration that we are doing here. But at the same time, you can go to the inputs.conf configuration file and directly update it. So you don't necessarily always have to go to the web or CLI, as we've seen in both cases. You can directly update your inputs.conf configuration file. So this is what the stanza looks like in inputs.conf. So when you configure a receiving port on an indexer, it's going to add a stanza with this header. So you're going to have Splunk TCP because, of course, as we've seen, the data is received over TCP. And then you have 2 front slashes here. And of course, you have your port number here, followed by your attributes. Now, don't worry too much about the attributes here. For example, this connection host equal to IP, we're going to come across it again at some point in the course. Now, what is the location of your inputs.conf configuration file in this case? Because you just say you go to the web, activate on CLI activate, which app is it going to place it in? So the location of the configuration file depends on the Splunk app. If you are doing it on Splunk Web, for example, it depends on the app you were in before you went ahead and performed the configuration. So it's going to place it in that app. But what if you wanted to update it directly? Then the recommendation is always to go to Splunk Home, etc, System, Local. Why do we do that again? Remember when we were discussing configuration files, we saw that inputs.conf is a configuration file that operates in the global context. And in the global context, system local takes priority. So you want to place your configuration file in a location that if there is any conflicting, then based on the configuration file precedence, the settings for that configuration file in that location are always going to take precedence. So in our demonstration here, we are going to configure a receiving port on the LTanjo demo instance using the Splunk Web User Interface and our default port of 9997. So basically, this instance is going to serve as our indexer. And then after that configuration, we are going to go to the back end and verify the stanza that is generated in inputs.conf configuration file. Okay, so we are connected to our LTanjo demo instance here on the web user interface. So now we are going to define a receiving port, since this is going to serve as our indexer that is going to be receiving, data from the forwarder. So to do that, I'm going to have to go to settings, and then here you see this option which says forwarding and receiving. So you click that. And then since you're actually configuring receiving, you're going to come down here where it says receive data, and then you go to configure receiving. So you see that right now there is no receiving port. So what we want to do here is that we want to add one. So I'm going to go to new receiving port, and then I'm just going to add the default 9997. So I could add any other thing here, maybe 9996, 9995, 9994, as we've already talked about multiple times. And I save this. So that is all it really takes to configure a receiving port on the indexer side. Now that we have done this, the exercise says that we should verify the stanza that is generated in the inputs.conf configuration file. So you see that we just created this. Now we're going to go to the back end, and our El Tanjo demo instance is our indexer 1. So I'm going to log into that. Okay, my screen here. And then I'm going to again switch to the root user as we always do. And then I'm going to go to Splunk home, opt/Splunk /bin. So basically I've entered into the folder that contains my Splunk binary. Now I've defined a listening port. That's the port on which the indexer is going to be listening to traffic that is coming from the forwarder. Now, we said that we can define that using the web user interface. We can also do it on CLI. Now, we did it on the web. On CLI, you could have done maybe Splunk enable listing. You put the port number and your credentials as we discussed. So if you were supposed to define on the command line interface, that's what you would have been doing here. So I'm going to go, let's say Splunk enable listing, and then you put 99997. If you put enter here, it's going to of course ask you for the credentials, but you can still do oath, and then you put your admin and whatnot. But we already did that on the web, so we don't have to do this. What we have to do now here, I just want to run this command to check it. So I'm going to do Splunk display listing. Okay. Then here is going to ask me for my admin credentials that I'm going to put here. And then you see that it says that this instance is receiving is enabled on port 9997. So that's the configuration that we have just done on the web user interface. Now we want to check the inputs.conf configuration file to see the stanza that has been added there. But right now we don't even know where it is. We don't know in which app the inputs.conf configuration file has been created. So in order to find that, I'm going to use the B2. So I will use B2. And here we are talking of the inputs.conf. So that's my prefix here. I'm going to do list. I'm going to do the debug because I want it to show me the location. And I'm just going to find inputs.conf that has 9997 because I know that this port is going to be part of my stanza header. So when I do that, you see that there is a Splunk TCP 9997 here, and it has actually created it in opt/Splunk at etc apps and launcher. Launcher is the home app. So it actually created that under the home app. So I'm just going to copy this here, and then I will cut it. Let's paste it here. And then you see the contents of that file. So you see that this is what is found in our inputs.conf configuration file. So we have our Splunk TCP as we saw, 9997 and connection host equal to IP, which we are going to discuss as we go down the line.